It's that time of the week again. BackChat 2.0. It gets me a bit excited, that song. It's like, it's a lot better than I've ever had. And there's a lot of other reasons I'm excited. Yes, Dan's here. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Will. I'm so excited. You always get better. What was the thing you said? Better than what you had?
What's that?
I don't know. Keep going.
What? No,
the song's better than what you had. Anyways, you're excited.
Oh, better than what I had, yeah. So BackChat's been going for a long time, as you know. It used to run for 3 or 4 years under the West Coast Eagles. Before that, it was Squawk Talk. Before that was something else that I still can't remember what the name was. But
Talon chatting.
But now, don't mind the pun there, but we have someone else special here.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie. Charlie's here. Hey, Charlie. How are you, Charlie?
I'm well. How are you, Will?
I'm good, mate.
Yeah.
What's happening? What's on the desk today?
I'm a bit far away from you all today.
I think this is actually the best setup you've ever had. A box with a
bit of wood on top. That's my desk today.
Good. How are you feeling?
I'm good. You know, a bit remiss.
I feel
today.
a bit remiss. I don't think that's a thing, Charlie.
Yeah, it is. Right.
Charlie moved a box as well.
Right.
I did move.
Before we get to the very special guest we have in store for us, which I know you all know who's here, but I like keeping it suspenseful for those who don't. You can get to us on socials, Instagram, BackChat_podcast, Twitter, BackChat_pod, Reddit. I was on Reddit today and I had a good look through. Gee, there's some funny stuff in there. That's very good.
Yeah.
/BackChat podcast. Charlie, we've got TikTok now.
I don't even have a TikTok. This is insane.
Of course you don't. You don't have Twitter or TikTok.
I've got Twitter.
Can you find our TikTok username? I forgot to look it up. It's one of those things that has the underscores, BackChat and podcast and something else. Anyway, you can find it all at www. That's right. Yeah, that's right, Dan. backchatpodcast.com.au or send us an email, hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. Whew. We're finally here.
Yep. And that's all we have time for.
Oh, you can hear that laugh in the background. He's been sitting here silently. I haven't let him talk, which is what I like to do to our guests in studio. He's a very good man. He's walked down from his house. He's kindly moved back from Melbourne to be closer to me. Nothing to do with his beautiful partner, Nat, or anything other in his life. It's to be closer to me, and he can come down and walk and sit in my garage and record BackChat, and we're reunited. Sam Butler.
Oh, and doesn't it feel good to be back as well?
Wow.
And how far the podcast's come. From the high heights that we were at, 96 FM studios, to your garage, which basically looked like a bomb hit it. I don't know, are you using it for storage? Are you outsourcing this garage for other things? Or
we had Oscar Allen in here, and look, it was a bit embarrassing. It was worse than what it is now, and so
it's hard to believe.
I've cleared some room. And we have more room in the studio area. And right. Yes, I'm calling this area the studio area. By the way, Sam, meet Dan. Dan, meet Sam.
Hey.
Hi, poor man Slumper. I mean, Dan.
No,
I've heard you're a rich man Slumper, and I have listened to a few of the episodes. I must admit, I am keeping up with it.
No, you're not.
Jealous. Well, I listened to two.
Okay.
And I was jealous for both. And I had to stop listening because, my heart was calling out to come back.
Have you missed BackChat?
I have missed BackChat. Yeah. There's only so many places that you can force people to listen to you without being able to talk back in the world, isn't there? Yes. So over in Melbourne, I missed it so much.
Marriage is one.
Marriage, I get BackChatted to all the time in marriage. That's definitely not one. I started doing a bit of coaching because I found that's another avenue that I could stand up in front of people, talk, and they had to listen. They couldn't. They can't talk back. Well, they can talk back, and I'll drop them. But now that I'm back in Perth, that's aside. Here's my real forum when I can get out some of my innermost thoughts and enjoy some time with you blokes.
Well, as I said to you, sharing a coffee at our local cafe, which we'll get into your thoughts on that.
Dome?
No, he's come in. Look, it's a cafe that I go to a lot. And
I'm about to destroy a cafe. I'll give you the hot tip.
He's come in with a bit of a hot head about it. He's not a big fan. When you get a friendship with someone or you really like something and then that new guy comes in and they don't like it and then it suddenly sours it for you.
Yep. I had a friend that basically broke up with his girlfriend because she didn't like The Office and he loved it. So that soured
his house?
No, the show.
The show.
Oh.
Yeah. Which one?
The US one. It's his favourite. She didn't like it. Anyways. Right.
I hope you two aren't better friends with each other than either of you are with me. That's going to suck for me.
I think we should make that a life goal, Dan.
All right. I'll see you after this. We should grab a coffee.
Yeah. Sleepover.
Yeah, good. Now you are back in town, Butsy.
Yes.
You moved away for a short period.
I did.
How was it over in the promised land of Victoria?
Well, I've been bagging Melbourne basically my whole life, being a South Australian / Western Australian. It was actually pretty good there for about 12 months. And then I don't know if you heard about this COVID thing. Not many Western Australians have. But that really stuffed it up, to be honest. So what's Melbourne good for? Live sport, bit of culture, restaurants. Guess what COVID did to all those things?
Wow.
Shut them right down. Guess what's left? Bad weather and shit beaches. That's all it's got
You
left.
can swear properly.
Okay,
on this
fantastic.
now. You can you can say whatever you like on here.
I second guessed myself, and I looked into your eyes, and I saw the encouraging stare back. I'm like, okay, shit beaches, great.
So I will say, BackChat has we've got rid of Thumper, yes, and we got rid of you, but you
Cut
are
some
always
dead weight.
Yeah, correct. Well, he won't be happy with that, Dan. But you
Doesn't
are
weigh that
you
much.
are always welcome. You're always welcome.
And it feels good. It feels like home. I must admit, I came in hot about your surroundings, but I like the setup. There's like a run sheet, which like we never had.
Do you like-
I
do you
never
like
was
having a
prepared
beer
for
in your
anything. I have a beer. I have like multiple people in the room and camera. What's the camera now? I can talk about stuff in the room, like how stupid this garage is, or why there's a cricket ball in
Did you
front of
notice
me.
you're in between two ferns?
Or do I have to wear a hat to be part of this podcast?
Did you notice you're in between two ferns?
And there's a fern behind me. I didn't even realise what's
They're
that thing
fake.
scratching my back.
They're fake.
So I like that part of it. So you come in leaps and bounds. And now that you have me back, which obviously every podcast does need a bit of talent, the sky's the limit.
You're welcome anytime. We have taken the podcast to new heights. So instead of just talking about West Coast, which, let's be honest, now we're both out of the club, we're no longer there, it gets a bit boring talking about West Coast. And for mine,
And we don't know what's going on.
that's correct. For mine, towing the company line gets a bit tiresome too.
Yep.
So you worked for West Coast after playing for West Coast. Pretty much now on the podcast, we talk about whatever we like. So we do a bit of footy. We do a bit of sport. Social media is still here.
That's horrible news.
I was going to get to that a little bit later in the show, but social media is very much still a pillar of this show.
How do you feel about it, Dan?
Look, I know he's trying to push it a lot, but there are other segments that just are creeping and knocking on their door to say, hey, we're here too.
Yeah.
Tell them about some of the other segments we got here.
Yeah, you send it, we read it. You send an email, we'll read it out. Quite self-explanatory.
How do you feel about that?
What if this email is like 10 pages long?
We'll read it.
We've sort of been there.
You send
Wow.
it. We'll read it.
Yep. Dan's challenge is always good.
Ooh.
Yep. That's been around, and
Do you challenge yourself or do you challenge other people?
just will. Usually I win. There's also You Call It, We Speak It, which is a new one, which we're starting tonight.
Ooh.
Excited about that.
This is exciting.
Is
Not
it?
only do we have Sam Butler back in the house, but you call it, we speak it.
Speak.
Does that make sense, by the way? What does that mean?
You call it, we speak it. We'll speak to you on the phone. You send your number in.
Right, so it's you.
Okay, you send it, your number. We'll
Call it.
Call you. And
You send it, we'll call it.
Look,
we speak
It's
it.
a work in
together.
progress. It's a work in progress.
Right.
We would like anyone who would like to speak to the show. We'll talk to you live, and we're going to do that with two guests,
No.
2 extra guests
Is that
tonight.
possible now?
Yes.
You guys are going
You've
places.
been asking for this for a long time. When we do a
Yeah.
back chat, you're like, we need callers. We got callers.
Yeah, because you got boring after a while.
Yeah, that's correct. Now, while we're going through all those segments, Dan's challenge was mentioned. Look, it's a bit haphazard. It's like a lot of the other things we used to run at BackChat. Hyperbuticals would have been one of them, which we actually had quite a few requests from our loyal fans, loyal listeners. So I texted you, I said, it's been a lot of requests for Hyperbuticals this week. What's Hyperbuticals? Can you?
Well,
I can't. I'll put my hand up. I say I can't remember what.
it obviously wasn't good because I can't remember what it was. I remember the name because it's a great name.
I recall a little while ago someone asked for one, and I read it out, and I said just the way that it was spelt. I was like Hyperbutical, and I was trying to figure out what it was, and it just made me think of that bit of skin that's under the nail. What's that called? The
cuticle.
Yeah, the cuticle. So it's not
Or
that.
like a hyper cuticle, like a really inflamed cuticle, maybe or something like
yeah,
that.
okay.
I don't know what it is.
I text
What was
our good friend Thumper. I said, been a lot of requests for Hyperbuticals. Can you remind me how that segment used to run? He said, oh look, he said, Butsy used to read out hypothetical questions.
Sounds awesome.
That was it. And I said, from who? And he said, from himself to you and I.
That's awesome.
And obviously resonated.
Yeah, well,
Do you think if you cut social media tomorrow, you reckon people will be calling for it? No, Hyperbuticals hasn't been there for 3 years. Guess what? The fans love it.
no one knows what it is.
No one in this room knows what it is, but some people do.
Anyway, so I thought we would start with one of our, which is Dan's challenge. It's been haphazard at best, but we have tried to do it with our guests. So you're you're sort of our fifth, but I don't include Luke Shuey at the start of the year. That was a
Why
bit.
not?
He was just happened to be in the building. I said, come have a chat to us. And these ones are organised. We had Tom Morris, highly acclaimed.
There was a name mentioned in your first episode
Sorry,
as a guest.
You were named?
you were named. Oh, you spoke.
There was a guest named in your first episode.
I don't know.
Nay, promised.
Oh, Godra.
God.
Mate, okay. Don't get me started.
This was my main agenda coming into this.
I'm just going to let you know.
He doesn't live here.
We did not have Gotcha on the show with you. That's not. That's not you. You
I
speak.
swear, one of these boxes Godra was about to pop out. So you're definitely not, or are you?
Take a mark on one of them.
You know how you asked about
That's a big box over there.
how long we could get this podcast going for? We need to get into this. So, what we've been doing with our guests: Tom Morris, Oscar Allen, Sir Swamp Thing. Jeez, that was a big interview. Big interview. Broke some records with who? Sir Swamp Thing, big. Sam Butler. We ask our guests, first question up. I've given you no notice for this as well.
Great. That's why I like it.
Matt, we want to hear your best sporting achievement, not on the football field. So your very best. So, Dan, have you got one?
I do actually, and it's funny you ask because I know a lot of people have been asking me to repeat the story again and again, which is what I'm going to do now. So this cricket ball that you actually mentioned before, that you said there's a cricket ball on here, this is a trophy that I got from best performance in a final. Under 12s, Chute Hill Cricket Club, that's the Lions. 5 wickets for 16 runs, and that's the ball.
Ooh la la.
That's the ball from the game.
5 for 16. There's a lot of hype about Adam Zampa. Took 5 wickets during the week in the T20 World Cup.
How many runs?
5 for 19. Dan.
Bit expensive.
So
Pathetic.
5 for 16. Dan asked me this was his first challenge, and he said, "You won't beat my best sporting achievement."
Yeah.
I gave him a couple of state titles and some running. Oscar Allen threw some stuff about
still peddling those state
volleyball. Some volleyball.
Wouldn't shut him up about him at the
What
club.
did Sir Swamp give us last week? Got a
participation in soccer when he was 9 or something.
Jesus, Sir Swamp.
Yeah, that's a low bar.
Sir Swamp also did say that only 33 people have done this, according to records, ever.
Enough
So
padding.
me and
What do you mean?
Enough
5
padding.
for 16. Those
No,
scores
in international cricket or something, not
Yep.
not under 12s.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
matter.
correct.
Okay. So this is legit best sporting moment,
Yeah.
not like
So what's your
funny
best?
dumb thing I did on the soccer pitch.
No, you need to beat those. You need to beat national titles and state titles and participation. And it can't be football. It cannot be your profession.
Yeah, I don't want to get into footy because I'll beat you at that too.
What about junior footy?
Certainly, yeah. Oh,
No football. Otherwise, I'll use junior footy.
I scored a hat trick in soccer in a cup final once at High Marsh Stadium. That was pretty good.
What age?
Must have been under 17s or something.
Regular season or a final?
a hat trick.
Cup final.
you were a
Bigger
midfielder.
stage.
I thought you were a midfielder.
Correct.
Wow,
Pretty good.
Cess Fabregas, eat your heart
In my
out.
first ever game of footy under 15s. Never played it.
No,
Never played in my life.
Are you allowed to do this?
11 goals.
I've heard that before.
11 goals.
Stick with your hat trick. So
And I
hat
thought,
trick.
this will never happen again. That's a first time fluke. 11 goals first game. Second game, 11 goals.
Who were you playing? What
Sorry
league?
about that, football.
What league? were you
Jeez, this
playing?
game's easy, I thought to myself.
What position? and
Jeez,
what
it's
league?
easy.
What league were you playing in?
16 games later, drafted. 20 games after that, Premiership. I was like, this game is a piss take.
All right, so hat trick in soccer.
Hat trick in soccer is pretty good. I would say that's close to best.
Did you win that game?
5-1, we won. I was really pissed off that 2 other people scored. Under 17s, this is like it's like waffle level, like Premier League level of
I feel like it's.
SA.
Yep.
So deal with that. Cop that.
Yeah,
High
it's
Marsh
quite good.
Stadium,
Did
the major stadium in Adelaide.
Best on?
Duh. Scored 3 goals from midfield. You freaking be the judge.
Dan's team lost when he took 5 or 6.
Oh, how did that happen? Another bowler on the other side took 6 for 15.
Let's just say I cleaned up the tail end at the end of the game.
The top already put on 400 runs. Yeah. Oh, right.
Now, Butsy, I do want to treat you as a bit of a guest, not just as this celebrity that's come in here, this pillar of the podcast, which you are. I would like to ask you some questions as a guest, because I do actually
be a fun experience.
Well, I do actually think you have some quite interesting times. I mean, you've been around the block a little bit. You're still Butsy from the block.
But don't be fooled by the rocks that I've got. Will.
You got anything, Dan?
No.
Can't go. Dan's usually very good with songs.
Well, I was going to give you the obvious line, but I thought, no, it's predictable. Let's keep going.
Okay. If you just stay with us though, we're going to just have a bit of a sweep of the sporting realms at the moment, and I'm going to ask you some questions about some things that I know you won't know the answers to.
Sweep away.
You seen the new signings today for West Coast?
Signings. What do you mean?
Just see who signed.
No.
Two very big names.
Oh, okay.
And?
I don't know.
Shannon Hearn.
Is he? I thought he already had a.
Yeah. Josh Kennedy, Shannon Hearn, they've signed on.
Why did it take so long? Just sign him up, I say.
Do you know why it's taken so long?
Why?
Because there's a Patreon story there. You know what?
Don't get fired.
Well, clearly they've got salary cap issues, and they've had to renegotiate other players' salaries on the list.
All right.
Is that not
Sure,
obvious?
he took another hit.
Is he on that much money?
10th time.
I don't reckon he's on that much money.
Yeah, because every year they ask him to take a pay cut. That's why. Hey, Skipper, you need to take another cut, so we need to keep someone else.
I did want to say this. Well done, boys, for signing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And well done, West Coast, for signing 2 of the greatest players of all time. That was a no-brainer.
That's enough for West Coast. I've had enough of that.
Okay, cool.
But so you'll like this, and I'm sure you haven't seen this come across the table. So, Channel 7 news reporter, our favourite of the show, Tom Brown, he has some absolute howlers, this bloke. Some of the absolute worst. So, he's come across with a good one, though. The AFL have cut skinfold testing at the draft camp to protect player well-being. Sam Butler.
I have come across this one.
How do you feel about that?
Fat shaming. That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
Skinfolds are fat shaming people.
Is that what you're saying?
Isn't that what that is?
That's exactly what they're saying.
Isn't that what they're saying?
That's what they're
body
saying.
shaming?
Yeah,
Just put the fat part in there?
Yeah, so what do you say about that?
I say I don't know where I stand on the political correctness of it, but it seems...
You don't have to be anywhere near politically correct on this podcast. Please say what you think.
Is it still true that being athletic is good for football?
Would you like me to just go...
And it's still true that being at a certain physical shape is good for athleticism?
Yes.
Talk us through what happens when you're getting a skinfold test. For we're all at this table elite athletes. We've been through many of these sorts of things. But for those at home, they're like, skinfold, is that,
Well, to be honest, skinfold is an antiquated test. They basically just pinch skin and then measure it. So there's lots of better ways to do it nowadays, probably. I don't know them all, but there's other ways to do it. BMI tests and things like that.
DEXA scans, the whole...
But it's a legacy thing that they've got all this historical data and they can compare you against all the other drafts and whatnot. So basically it just tells you how fat you are.
Well, like they just squeeze and they go, about half a finger full of skin.
Yeah, they got little calipers that say you got 4 centimetres on your stomach, and Scully would have 24 centimetres on his stomach. And
so about skinfolds though, right? They're incredibly personal. Butsy and I have different levels of skinfolds, and our body will react differently how we exercise, how we eat food. I train less. I'm fatter than Butsy. But also, if we both trained exactly the same amount, ate exactly the same food, we would have different skinfolds.
Mm-hmm.
So getting a skinfold, let's just say someone gets a 50 and then comparing it to another person who's got 40, saying that he's
fatter?
Oh, well... Yes, saying that it actually means anything, it doesn't, because you need to compare it to yourself. Like, skinfolds are self-comparable. Correct?
That is correct, up to a certain point.
Well, you can't have 100. You can't have 100
Yeah.
skinfolds.
They're probably
100.
just checking outliers, which probably no one is anymore, to be honest. But they're probably just checking, is this guy over 80? Yes, he might have a problem. That's basically it.
What if he just has flappy skin?
You're not going to be 80 if you have flappy skin. You'll be 60, 65. That's still like, there's the guys playing on AFL
Hold on,
list.
is that a thing? Can you have flappy skin?
Yeah, he's got stretchy skin, this guy. You know.
Nah, it's not a measure of skin thickness. It's a measure of fat in between your skin.
Yeah, right.
Right? So, look.
Thick skin.
My point is, I don't know if it's yours, Butsy. It's an absolute debacle. I tweeted about it during the week. Fox Footy wrote an article, Butsy, you'll like this. Titled it, "Fucking Joke."
Wow.
Did they use an asterisk?
Brutal.
They used a couple asterisks, but they
So
quoted me.
what side are you on? You'll get rid of it.
No, don't get rid of it.
But
Athletes-
you're saying it's obsolete though.
Look, whether it's obsolete or not, the whole point
The
is
reason they've got rid of it is
correct.
crazy.
Looking after athletes' mindset and like you're an athlete and you're trying to become a professional athlete, you need to hold certain levels of fitness. Now, I understand fat shaming. This is not to do with fat shaming. This is not trying out to be a social media influencer and putting pictures up of yourself on Instagram. This is about becoming a professional athlete where fitness and body fat levels directly correlate to you being able to perform your job. Now, some guys, what I was saying earlier, some guys will have high levels of fat in their body. There's guys on the list, I'll tell you right now, Jeremy McGovern, Andrew Gaff has high skin folds. He's the best runner at West Coast and has been for 10 years. Like, his skin folds do not correlate to his
I've only
performance.
been retired for 5.
I think he's in the top 10 of the AFL.
It is a joke that they're getting rid of it to look after players. Like, and their, what is it, mental, like, is it mental health? I don't know if it's mental
Is
health.
this an AFL mandated thing for all clubs as well, or is it only at the
Is it
junior
Draft.
level?
It's just draft.
Draft.
So
The worrying thing is that clubs will probably still do it, or at least some kind of testing. And Scully will test. It's kind of brutal, AFL. Like, you're going to come up against challenges, and you're going to be. They're still going to videotape you in absolutely everything you do on field. Every part of training, you go to a 2K time trial. They're going to analyze every single thing you do. Are we seeing the wrong example for young players that think they can get away? I don't know. That would be my only worry for young people. Are we actually hurting them a little bit?
I don't know how far. So Skinfolds, I've never really liked them for all the reasons we just spoke about.
I have, because I was always awesome at them.
You had very low Skinfold Butsy.
Really low.
Yeah, but see, that was a problem. They'd compare you to the rest of us. And it's like, well, yeah, of course, Butsy's under 40. What about the rest of us? Oh, excuse me. Scully Skinfolds are big.
Classy. It's a classy podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
No, I love Skinfolds. Don't get rid of them.
Yeah. Okay. That's our Skinfold chat.
That's
We do that every week, by the way,
interesting
Skinfolds.
topic. Do you?
Yeah.
How you going with them?
Yeah. No, we don't squeeze each other's skin. All right, guys,
You
measure
sure?
each other's. Yeah, all right.
You're not coming
At
in
the
the
same time.
garage unless you're under 55, guys. Just so everyone knows.
NBA. This is your realm, Dan.
I just saw something that happened today that was quite brutal. Nikola Jokic plays for the Denver Nuggets, reigning MVP. He copped a bit of a nudge as he was dribbling the ball up the court. And he passed the ball off. And after he passed it off, he ran up to the guy who was Markieff Morris, ran up to him and absolutely, I don't even know what the word is, shoved him very hard in the back.
Have
He
you
floored
seen
him.
it?
No.
Absolutely. Charlie, can you get it up on your laptop and show Butsy, please?
Yep.
Shirt front. In the back, you're saying.
Yeah, like
So
It's
he's
just
casually
bumped him.
running, so he doesn't even know it's coming.
on
and
the basketball court. Shit mix.
it's
Really?
almost
Oh,
a
yeah.
7-footer. Just
Yeah, I know of that guy, but he's a where's he, like Ukrainian or something? He's a mad
Yeah,
dog.
mate. It was like the
Eastern
fire
European,
came across
he's
the
just- yeah.
face.
Yeah, and absolutely floored him. And then, a bit of a tussle broke out. Jimmy Butler was telling him to come out the back.
In the
Like,
car
I'll see you
park.
out the back.
Really?
Which
Which I found very funny about the whole incident. Like,
It's all talk.
Jokic would eat him. He's a bear, isn't he?
of
He's a
of
bear of a
course,
man.
it's all talked out. What are they going to go fight in the car park? These
No,
guys, these are
it's-
only $100 million a game. Can you swing around and show Butts?
Yeah, that's just an ad playing.
What's it about?
Books, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Got no sound on.
Good.
they're not sponsoring us, Charlie. Don't tell them what it is.
Yeah, that was a test, Charlie. You failed.
If you
Free advertising for
personally haven't seen this hit from Jokic on Markieff Morris, have a look at it. We'll chuck it up on socials, chuck it up in our story. But overall, Butsy, I really think that you're not going to like this at all. Or hang on, they'll come back and show it.
So the most brutal thing is he's
He
not
went
expecting it at
flying.
all. Yeah, because he bracing for it. So he absolutely cops. And there's Jimmy Butler going, "I'll see you out the back."
Do they show a replay of it?
Has he?
It should.
Has he put
Yeah,
some
just
mustard
leave
on it?
Leave it.
Has he a bit
No,
of a
not at all.
dive? Because he went about halfway
Not
across
at all,
the
mate.
floor.
He is.
I don't think he needed to.
So, watch this. All right. So
Jokic just grabbed a
So
rebound.
he's already.
he's
ball
gonna have
on the
it.
floor. So he just
Little
gives him a
bump.
bit of a bump, nothing too
Oh, that was-
hectic, and then bang. I don't think you need to muster that.
The
That's a
first
big
one
hit.
was not nothing either, though.
No, it was.
He's come into him pretty
yeah,
hard.
he was. Yeah. But he didn't. He responds pretty tough.
Oh yeah, it's
big
good.
boy.
Yeah,
Big hit. We'll put that on socials. I was going to ask.
McGovern like Buddy, by the way, doesn't he, Jokic?
Yeah,
Skinny fat.
yeah. He's skinny
Yeah.
fat.
Yeah.
And
This
he's
is
good.
What's his skin fold?
This is him skinny now. He used to be bigger.
That's who started it.
We'll never know now.
Jokic.
They get rid of
He
it.
outlawed it in the NBA.
What's the question here?
Best cheap shot, or not best? What's the cheapest cheap shot you guys have seen?
Two
On the field.
Well, two springs to mind for me, and I wasn't on.
Not including when you absolutely floored that Melbourne chap with your elbow.
Clayton Oliver. For that to be a cheap shot, he would
This is
have
the
had to
toughest thing Scully's ever done.
one, not been looking at me, which he was, and for me, two, to have hit him in the chin, which I didn't.
Actually touch him.
Correct.
Feathered
So I'm on my two. You might have been playing, probably not. You're probably injured. That's
doubt.
that's a bit below the belt for this early in the pod, isn't it? Sorry about
No,
that.
it's spot on.
Barry Hall, Brent Staker, like
Oh, yeah, I was injured.
you don't you don't get too many cheaper than that.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit more controversial because I love him. He's a good mate of the pod, and he's going to be a big friend of the pod, I believe, next year. He's very keen to jump on a bit and give us a bit of insight. Andrew Gaff v. Brayshaw. And Charlie's a Freo supporter.
Yeah, and that was hard to forgive, but I feel like I've moved on.
Have you forgiven him?
I have.
No,
That was
that's
cheap?
borderline.
Nah.
That's
What
borderline.
made you forgive him? Is it time heals all wounds, or was it? Did he say something that go, "Oh, he's actually a good bloke"?
I
Or
don't know. I think I just gave up being angry.
you're just too nice a guy.
Mate, I don't know. I heard Freo fans booing him about 3 months ago. and that was 3 years
it's
later.
still hugely boring.
Yeah, I still
and you
don't-
have a couple beers at the derby.
I would
and it
forgive
does-
Barry Hall for the rest of my life. That's bad. I don't care what he
Yeah,
says.
but he was trying to hit him in the face. I still think Gaffy was like trying to hit him, but not clobber him in the jaw.
I agree.
You
with
see other cheap shots? Nah. You know.
that. I can't. Nothing springs to mind.
That's all
I
right.
didn't even spring to mind that Barry Hall one, but that is obviously an outlier. That was outrageous, really.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like when me and Scully boxed together.
Can you? I don't know if you've ever told that on this. At least if you have, tell it to the new listeners.
Well, you guys had a box?
Yeah, we used to spar.
We used to spar.
Which
Like an
you-
organised spar.
You're not allowed to do that anymore. They don't. Not allowed to box anymore.
Are you?
No, not allowed to at any club. Someone got knocked out. So
Right. Well, fair enough.
I'm
and-
surprised
and-
you didn't get banned after you and I boxed.
Me and Scully boxed. I used to do a little bit of boxing at the club. And Scully, if I'm not mistaken, at this time was quite a novice. And I know, and we were doing sparring to the point where don't hit in the head in this occasion. Let's just keep it to the body, arms, whatnot. So Scully, for some reason, I would just notice if I don't care if I faked hitting him in the toe, he would try and block it. I could fake hitting anywhere. I could fake hitting 4 meters to his left and he'd still try and block it. So I'd fake low, he'd drop his hands and I'd punch him square in the middle of the chest over and over and over again. And I could tell that it was really starting to hurt him. But then afterwards I thought that had to have hurt, but he took it well. Anyway, let it go. About 4 months later, he's come up to me and goes, "Mate, I haven't told you this, but my sternum's still fucked from when we bought. He carried it all year in pain, struggling."
Legit fractured my sternum. I had a fracture. I'm not even slightly kidding. And we had boxing gloves on. He would have hit me 50 times in the same spot. It was like,
How hard?
Wouldn't back down though.
You know,
just kept dropping his hands.
is it Kill Bill where she's in the coffin and she's
Yeah, the 1 inch punch.
That was what it was like. It was like punching through a coffin, my sternum.
Yeah.
And you were doing the 1 inch.
I literally broke you in half. That's the way I'm figuring it in my head.
Right. NFL.
NFL, okay.
We're going around the grounds.
So, we are going around the month. Chicago Bears played Steelers today. I don't really watch it, but I saw it. So, the Steelers quarterback,
How
Ben...
did you see it without watching it?
Oh, no, I didn't watch
Impressive.
it live. I didn't...
Right.
Okay, here we go. All right. So, defensive end Cassius Marsh,
Yeah.
great sack on the Steelers quarterback, runs through... He holds it for way too long, and then Marsh sacks him. And you know how NFL, they get to do the taunting thing
No, they don't get.
Well,
to
they
do
don't get to, but
Yeah, they get up and do a little dance.
it was banned for a while. And then now they can sort of do a little bit of it when they score a touchdown. Cassius does this spinning fly kick after he sacks him, and he's
Charlie,
just like,
let's put that on social as well.
Let's put that on social.
Thank you.
He's celebrating. He's not fly kicking anyone. He's just fly kicking the air.
Yeah.
Full Jackie Chan. Like,
Really?
Very
That's
impressive.
an impressive piece
Yeah,
of
it gets very
athleticism.
high. Yeah. And so then he gets a penalty for taunting. So as he's running off the pitch, the referee who's given him who's about to give him the taunting penalty, just as he's running past him, the referee takes a little step back and just gives him a nudge. The referee does.
Oh, no.
Yeah, full on. So there you go. Charlie will just bring that a little back a bit. So
Oh, he just backed into him.
he just backs into him, and then he throws the flag up in the air. So
it lost the game for Chicago.
it lost the game for Chicago.
He's definitely done that on purpose.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Wow, referee.
So people are calling for his head. LeBron James has come out and said that referee needs to get fired. So
Really?
I'd say that because LeBron James has said it, it's all
definitely
over.
getting fired.
He's getting fired.
As much as you can't
He's the
touch
Barry
the
Hall of
referee.
referees.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't throw a fist, but he threw his butt out. I don't think we've seen much of that sort of action in AFL. I mean, there was people suggested that the umpire walked into Toby Green. That was a little bit of a
That was
50-50,
that was not like this incident.
Not like
that,
at all.
That umpire literally
tried.
to back into him and bump the player and then penalise the player on the spot.
So I can't really talk to you about umpiring because the Aussie rules AFL.
It's different.
It's different. But taunts. Is there anyone that's taunting out in the field?
We used to speak about it a bit as backmen that it would be amazing if after a good spoil we could do fly kicks in the air.
Yeah, like a bit of a taunt.
I don't know if it ever got to fly kicks in the air.
No, but
anyone
that's
could have achieved that.
imagine
but
if we
yeah.
got to celebrate a spoil like these guys get to
Like
celebrate.
thumping your
attack.
chest and
Yeah.
yelling.
Oh,
Like a
screaming
forward
at the
could
crowd.
celebrate a goal.
Forgetting about the game, ongoing.
What's more important, kicking a goal or saving a goal? Equally important, I'd say.
Saving,
if
yeah.
if I was
Saving a
me,
goal.
which I am.
I've got him on the program. Don't worry, he knows he's a.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
It's still
no.
called BackChat, so sorry, I keep coughing.
Best taunt.
Taunting, the best taunt I've ever seen, and I've probably told this story because it's one of my favourite stories in my all-time career in football. Played a game in London. We had a footy trip beforehand, so it wasn't the best game, to be honest, from us. Mark Lacroix, John Worsfold, in all his wisdom, has decided he's going to try him in the back pocket on Jeff Farmer. Jeff Farmer's kicked 4 goals in the first quarter. Start of the fourth quarter, he's kicked his 5th goal, and it's been an amazing goal. Actually, it wasn't Lecker's fault this one.
But Lecker's still on him.
Lecker's still on him. Run towards boundary, kicks his snap, goes straight through. Jeff Farmer's momentum's going towards boundary, so keeps running over, jumps the fence. Oh, what the hell is this guy doing? Walks about 5 rows back, shuffles in, goes in, sits down, crosses his legs, and just starts clapping.
Yeah, that's very good.
I'm like, and Lecker's mind just disintegrated, just completely collapsed. And Wish goes, please get back forward and try to kick a goal. And that was the greatest thing ever.
Forwards can do that.
That's amazing.
Vets used to run up to the, but that was, there wasn't so much taunting an actual player. That was sort of celebrating. But backman, yeah, I reckon that could be a thing for people to bring in.
I once
Bit of chest
saw
pounding.
Andrew Embley taunt a Port Adelaide player. I forget his name, but he got knocked out. And for some reason, Ember stood over and taunted him for about a minute. Tyson Stenglein got him a good one.
Yeah,
He was
wasn't that
just
Stinger?
dancing over him?
Didn't he jump over him sort of like NFL
Yeah, it was just
style?
like, whoa, staring him in the face. He got you good. I'm like, that
Salopek?
guy's knocked
Is
out,
it
mate.
Salopek?
No, that's Bowie got Salopek.
So yeah, that's right.
No, this guy was he's kind of and I was playing on him on the wing, so I was quite happy. But I didn't go up and taunt him while he was
Not
unconscious.
anymore.
But yeah.
Did
Oh,
not.
yeah,
play.
I don't think he played again. He
right.
literally stopped his career.
It's not funny.
If Embers feels better. Yeah, what are you laughing at, Dan?
All right. After this, we're going to get into a bit of a chat with Butsy. We're going to turn Butsy, the pro host, into Butsy, the guest. All right. Now, Sam Butler, the guest and not the host. I did interview on 6PR with you on the weekend. We spoke for quite a while, but as I've spoken about on this podcast, traditional media doesn't give the room to talk about whatever we want. And so we sort of missed, we're a bit patchy Did you feel rushed? It was a bit rushed.
I felt a bit rushed, but you're also employed by them, so I don't want to talk it down too much. But yeah, mainstream media, who needs it? You know,
You probably had to get to some pest control ads, and I don't know, how often do you play an ad? Every 2 minutes on 6PR?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Dan works for the ABC, so he's like, has some sort of, it's meant to be a rivalry, which is fucking hilarious. Like, ABC is bland and boring and no ads. 6PR is the complete opposite to that. So like
And makes money.
way too far gone the other way. Nah. And somewhere in the middle is perfection. It's where BackChat lies.
No one believes that.
I did want to ask you a few questions. So when I was preparing for that interview, I thought, well, I could probably use that on BackChat. It'd be a lot better because your career as a footballer. Now, a lot of people hear you talk, and funny guy, and you take the mickey out of yourself. But you
Really
played,
intelligent,
you played,
beautiful.
you played in a period of time that you did see it all, didn't you? You were drafted 2003, end of 2003, high draft pick. Again, researching for this interview, did not realise you were a top 20 pick. Wowee.
I like that you said top 20. Exactly number 20.
So top 20 pick.
Mm-hmm.
You come to the club. You debut in your first year, round 10. So how many games did you play in your first year? Have I written that down? No. 10 or so? You played a few.
10 or so.
You played 10, didn't you?
It was around that, yeah.
And then the very next year, the club plays in the Premiership. Plays in the grand final, 2005 grand final. And you play. How did you actually get into that midfield? That midfield was Cox, Judd, Cousins, Kerr, Braun, Embley, Fletcher. What were you doing?
Stinglon.
What were
To be honest, I don't actually know.
What position were you playing in 2005?
I was playing midfield. So I came into the club thinking I could break into the greatest midfield of all time. Easier said than done, but
you did.
somehow I did. The 2005 season was a weird one for me. I especially the grand final itself. I had a stinker, to be honest. I think I got injured like round 16 or something. I don't think it was a long injury, but couldn't break my way back into the side. And we ended up having a couple of injuries in prelim. So I think Michael Braun went down.
Well, you didn't play in the prelim.
Nah, I didn't play since round 16.
What?
And I was at the old Perth Demons. I hadn't played any footy for about a month.
What?
And then we had literally three or four injuries. So
For
I
the
think
grand
Casey
final.
Green came in. I came in. Travis Gasper maybe came. No, he played. Anyway, there was 3 or 4 changes. So I was a bit underdone, and I'm not making excuses. I didn't live up to my own expectations for that game and go overall by the situation. But I think we spoke about it the other night, so I don't want to overdo it.
No. More people listen to this. It's just
Okay. Well, that kind of changed my trajectory of my career a little bit because, it was a bad feeling after a game where you lose by a point or 4 points, whichever one it was, and you have a stinker and you got 3 touches or whatever it was. You if you play your role, if you play a good game, do you win by a point? Is that how much a person is adds to the team in that kind of game? So I took it on my own shoulders and still probably think rightly so. But that's pretty hard for an 18-year-old, 19-year-old. And I was in a bit of a state for the next few weeks.
why did you play so poorly? On like hindsight, always 2020. What did you not prepare? You weren't ready. Just sort of any other game, over prepared.
Yeah, look, with the value of hindsight, as you say, and being a bit older, not playing for a fair while before that game, I think played a factor. But at the time when I analysed the game, I think I just spent it before I had it. I was training really hard. I was trying to impress on the training track because that's all I could do. My goal was to break back into the side. So when you get told by Woosher on a Thursday that you're playing in the grand final, all that work I'd just done for the last 10 weeks, I felt like I'd achieved my goal. So it's almost like I made it. I did what I needed to do.
Do you remember?
And not that I didn't want to play good in the game, but I probably didn't think, okay, well now the hard work starts, which completely changed the next year.
Do you remember the Premiership parade and all the extras? You remember
Yeah, I remember it. I probably don't remember. I was lucky enough to play in 3 grand finals. I probably remember 2005 the least. It's a bit of a blur, to be honest. I remember the post-game and the feeling around it, but I don't really remember the game too much or the preamble. I don't really remember getting told I was playing. 2006, I basically remember it all. I don't know if it's because it was a more joyous experience and I haven't blocked it out of my mind, but I remember when Woosher told me I was playing, I remember the parade. I remember the feeling before the game. I remember certain things throughout the game, and obviously the feeling afterwards. But 2005, I know they say, you have to lose one to win one, which is obviously completely incorrect. But I think it prepared me for the rest of my career and kind of changed, as I said, the trajectory of who I wanted to be in a team. I never wanted to experience a feeling like I let my team down and didn't play my role. Whereas before that, I was a young midfielder. To be honest, I was a bit brash. I kind of considered myself as a contemporary to those guys you spoke about, and that I'd be in a midfield and hold my own with them. Whereas then after that game, I was just kind of like, I just want to make sure I don't fuck up again, basically. Yeah. And probably set my tone towards the back pocket.
Well, they didn't move you to the back line then because 2005, your second year in the AFL, a losing grand final, you got your chance to redeem yourself in 2006. So what changed? Everything?
Everything, yeah. So I probably just had a sole focus, and it wasn't just me, the whole club. I'd probably never again experience what it felt like to be part of that next season or pre-season. The sole focus. One of the great things about playing with some of those names that you said in the midfield is everyone knows they're supremely talented, but they're some of the hardest working guys that I've ever come across in football. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're some of the hardest working guys you've ever come across in the history of the game. The Chris Judds, Ben Cousins, I think people know how hard he would push himself on field, but off field just as hard. Daniel Kerr is a play hard, work hard kind of guy. That midfield was stacked with guys that wanted to get the best out of themselves and would push themselves to the absolute limit. So I was lucky enough to learn off those guys at that time as well. And they took it to a new level in that pre-season.
Do you remember how many people played both 05 and 06? How many of the team?
It would have been a fair chunk. Yeah, there was a few guys like Nico and Gardy, Ashley Sampi that played 05. Gaspar, Casey Green. So probably, actually, it's probably 6 or 7 that didn't play the next year. We were a lot more settled coming into 06. Like we hadn't had injuries for a while. Like everything was going our way. The chalk and cheese in terms of our lead up to the game itself. The result, not chalk and cheese. They both could have gone either way, but the feeling going into the game was completely different, and completely different for me. Like, I had, I don't want to big note myself, but I had a pretty good final series leading up. I was starting in the midfield for the last 6 or 7 weeks.
You're one of the best in the prelim. I read that somewhere. You had like 25, 26 touches in the prelim, didn't you? You'd remember.
Yeah.
Adelaide Oval.
Yeah. Kicked the winning goal.
Homecoming.
Kicked the winning goal.
Snap on your left.
Had 30-something the week before
Was it a snap
against
on your
Bulldogs.
left?
No, it was a snap on my right.
Big
it was about
snap.
50.
Yeah, it was big.
Got us to win, whatever. So confidence in the year before would have been riding high. But for that year, it didn't feel like anything was worth it until we kind of won. I wish every year felt like that. But I think the other good thing about playing in a midfield like that, and to be honest with not just the midfield, the team as a whole, they had a fair bit of confidence.
I think
They had a lot of confidence. They knew they could win from anywhere.
I think I remember reading a stat, something like between 05 and 06, between Sydney and West Coast, if you added up all of the games, there was a point differential between, like, every game. Maybe there may have been 2, like, where you won by 2 goals, they won by 2 goals, but every game for those 2 years
No, it was within. They were all like under a goal there for a while.
Yeah, like the total differential was 1 point. So it was a wild sort of thing. So when you have 16, 17 guys that have played last year, is there some conversations you're having between those people that are like, bonding over the fact that you lost last year, this year is going to be different sort of thing?
Yeah, not explicitly, but I think it was a collective feeling behind it. Obviously, the year before was spoken about a bit, and the rivalry with Sydney and whatnot. But I remember having discussions in that final series saying that that we're ready, kind of thing. Like this has to be our time, because not only were we just supremely confident, like I just mentioned, but as I said, the injury side of it, like everything was going our way. If we didn't win it that year, then we couldn't have asked for a better run, to be honest. And then Sydney, to their credit, they're playing against a team that was way more talented than them. Like, I don't know if I'm being controversial here, but they're playing against a team that way more talented than them. They held it with us, and we split it 1-1, and they end up keep going and won a couple more premierships in the next 6 or 7 years. But You got to credit them for their ferocity. We wanted to play that way. Woosha, for all his detractors towards the end of his tenure at West Coast about not having a plan B, I believe he knew he had the most talented team out there and was happy to test that talent against other teams. He was happy to play one-on-one. You, Sam Butler, you play against whoever, Ryan O'Keefe, and you beat him. Or that was our game plan because he believed that we'd win in that game plan. But Sydney, competitive beast, they thought they could match it in that kind of style.
So you've gone 3 years in the AFL. You played in 2 grand finals, won one, lost one, disappointing one, great the other. Premiership. I don't know if we've ever told this story on the podcast, but I was thinking when I was going to interview about stories from my very early days, one that popped up in my mind was, I don't know if you remember this. It happened to you, so you probably should. Sam Butler was living with you at the time you won the 2006 flag.
Sam Butler was living with me.
So Matt Spanger was living you at the time you won the 2006 flag. And it was some point in time after winning that flag in that week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere there. Been a bit of a big week.
Right. I don't know where this story's going. I don't know if I want to.
So you're in the shower and Spang's in the living room and he just, like, he hears you go in the shower and then just hears you, after about a minute or so, start yelling and like almost wailing, like crying out, help, help, help. So Spang goes running in there and you're like, man, I can't see. What did I do last night? What did I do? I can't see anything. I can't see my face. Something wrong with my eyes. Something's going on. And Spang is just like, holy shit, man. Like, opened up the shower door, like, let me check him out. Opens the shower door. You've had a shower with your sunglasses on still. They're fogged up and you think you're blind. You legit think you're blind.
That's a legitimate story. Unfortunately, I don't remember screaming like a little girl, but it probably happened that way.
No, it definitely happened that way.
Remember back in the days, you have to have those cool like wraparound sunnies, big.
Yeah.
Obviously slept in them. Obviously wore them out like I was cool the night before, slept in them, woke up, got in the shower, legitimately thought I'd pushed it too far and I'd somehow alcohol had turned me blind because they fogged up. They fogged up in the shower. I obviously could see my way in there, then they fogged up in the shower. I've pushed it too hard. That's pretty bad, yeah. Awesome that you brought up that story, though.
Yeah, very good. Well, you know what? Bad luck. That's how it goes.
Thought we were talking about the career, but
we are. At what stage did you realise you were a backman and not midfielder? Let's get to the serious question.
Well, it wasn't me. It was the coaches. Unfortunately, after 2006, I didn't play for the next 2 years. I had groin injuries
due to sight.
Yeah, I lost my sight and I was slowly regaining it over the next 2 years. So didn't play the next 2 years. Came back in 2009 and did bugger all of that preseason. Came back into the team as a midfielder, obviously, and just was way off it. Just 2 years without footy, and I played 4 or 5 weeks and just couldn't get going. Basically, they just said, look, mate, we'll play down back, get your legs under you, start feeling good, get some game sense back in you.
We'll get you back into the midfield.
And you'll be straight back in the midfield. Worst thing I ever did is start play a couple of good games in the backline and then... Best thing I ever did.
In your heart, you knew you were a backman just playing in the midfield for a little period of time.
I think in the coach's heart, they really knew this guy sucks. He's back pocket at best. So never got a sniff in the midfield again, to be honest.
Which led to, now it's a fair fast forward, but I mean, not really much happened in between 2006 and 2015, let's be honest. Wooden spoon, prelim, a few other things, a few injuries.
Insignificant.
So you go from 2 grand finals in your first 3 years to a big gap. So 2006 to 2015, with no more shots at the big dance again. We had the prelim final against Geelong. Playing
2011.
Playing that?
Yep.
We were never a chance of winning that game. As in, once we got into it, Geelong just jumped us.
Oh, that was one of the worst things I've been involved in sport.
Yeah.
Or like we were just out-muscled,
it just
out-gamed
felt like
from the first minute of the game.
They were just better. Man.
They were just better than us. And we were broken. You remember, we had 2 or 3 important players that were limping through that game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we got to 2015.
That was a good year to be a part of.
Yeah, it was. Redemption.
So, I don't know.
Redemption always is.
Yeah. And just being part, like, doesn't always have to. If you only judge yourself on premierships, some people would be pretty pissed off with their careers, right?
You said this on 6PR. You said you can't always play footy to win premierships. Why? I agree with you. I'm just asking.
Well, our chairman, in his infinite wisdom, Russell Gibbs, makes a good analogy. Is that he's a businessman, so in business you want to make a profit, and if he was in business and he only made a profit once every 20 years or 16 years or 18 years or whatever the average is in things, he'd be in a pretty bad state.
Yes.
It can't just be about that, right, in footy.
Yeah.
It has to be about more than that. So you can find value in lots of other things, in your activity in the community, in your teammates, and you just strive to be better. For me, all those things are true. One of the greatest joys in football is just being part of a team that's clicking, for a better word, to be part of some kind of, not to be too rah-rah, but like some kind of group think or group flow situation where you feel like you're on top of your game and you can trust the person next to you. And I feel like we had that in 2011. We're playing a brand of footy that was built on just relentless pressure and attack, and we had something to prove, and that ended up getting the best of us, and we ended up fizzling out. And as I said, there was a few boys towards the end that were just kind of limping through, and Geelong ended up making us pay. But 2011, I still look back on that year as one of the best in my career.
2015's that for me, so exactly those reasons. So I don't know if you remember 2015, round 2, I'm fairly sure. Charlie might remember. Freo kicked 10 goals in the first quarter in the derby against us.
Yeah.
And they, embarrassed us in a derby.
Yeah, so I tell this story a lot. Can I pick it up from here?
Oh, great. I didn't even know you knew it, so that's good.
I tell this story a lot to people and I say, because there was a lot of wank about the Weagles web or whatever they're calling it, and there was some truth to it because the way we were defending was probably what we were ahead of the game with at that time. It's not just the defenders, even though me and Scully will claim it. It was a whole team ethos around defence that we were playing that year. I tell people it's because of Scully. Because we went down this path.
This is why he brought it up.
Does he? Yeah, I don't know if he's told this story before.
I have not, and I didn't know you knew this.
We went down this path, and I'm a bit of a vanilla guy. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I like the one-on-one stuff that you look back at your study career and you're often reminiscent of it. We got spanked against Freo, playing this style. They were kicking goals and it was fun. And we were trying to play this group defence, not just one-on-one stuff. And our backline coach, was Brady or Hick at that stage? Hick. Said, guys, what do we think? Like, do we need to just go back to just locking on back shoulder and just beating him in? And I was pro. I was like, yeah, we need to go. Like, I'm not letting the guy just kick goals out the back of me again like that. I'll if he beats me 1-on-1, I'll cop it. This guy said, fuck this. We're not putting all this time in just to concede at the first hurdle. I say we go even harder. Maybe we're not doing it enough. Maybe we just go way over the top and just see if it works for a month. And so we went like too far the other way.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, let's play right off our men. Let's
see how aggressive we can be.
Let's not even go near them. Let's just play so aggressive that they have to just react to us. And we're like, because it kind of got the boys up. We had a young squad at the time. They're like, yeah. And I was thinking, you fuck. We're going to get 25 goals kicked in us next week. It's because of you. But it just started clicking. And to be honest, we were really lucky that we had a couple of guys in our backline that could take intercept marks like they were going out of fashion. So that helped us a lot. But one thing you really need as a footy club when you have success is an identity. We had that in 2006. We believed that we were the hardest working team in the comp. We just believed that we trained harder than anyone else. When times got tough, you're down at half time, we'd say, boys, we'll outrun them. Just work harder. And for us at that time, we just thought we were smarter and more aggressive than any other team. And that was a pivotal moment of it. Was that where you were going with it?
No, not at all. I just loved playing that year because it was this bunch of, like the back line especially. Like when you're in the back line, you don't have much to do with the midfield or the forward line or anyone else really. You got to look after each other and you set the play up and you save the play for whenever else stuffs up. So that year was the best as a back line. 18 was good too. but I probably was in and out of the team a bit more. 15, I was a real leader in the team. I really wasn't trying to tie you into that, but just exactly that. We had this style that it used to be funny when they'd cover it in the press because and even coach. I remember Damien Hardwick. We played them at the G on a Friday night, and we just I remember going to the game. It's Friday night, boys. We're going to show everyone what we can do. Let's be it was just that was our thing. Like, let's be even more aggressive than you. When you get to a point in the game or a point where you're on your man and you're standing 15 metres off him and the ball's getting moved, when you're trying to make that decision of should you go back or forward or be aggressive or get towards your man, be aggressive. Just attack. Like, just make a decision that's attacking. Like, if you just go and bump the person 10 metres in front of you, someone behind you will cover you. And so it was actually fun. It was a fun way to play. So we made a grand final that year. Your last grand final. You played well in that again, I believe. Although 2015 for me is like 2005 for you, probably. I didn't play very well. I don't really remember a lot of the game. I remember being out of it pretty early and on reflection, not preparing it for it well. Not playing well, not handling it well. And I didn't handle it well for a couple of years after. Sounds like a little bit like you, but I mean, you were able to go and win a grand final the next year. But 2015, it's the last one you played in. Reflections?
Well, first of all, it would have meant exponentially more to me if we won it. You're very gracious in saying that I had contributed in 2006. I still rode on the coattails of some of those greats that we spoke about before. Like, I just got drafted to the right team at the right time. They were on the edge of greatness. So 2015, I could have taken a bit more. What's the word? A bit more pride, a bit more.
You're in the driving seat rather than the back. You weren't in the back seat reading the Melways.
Yeah, a bit more anyway. I'm not saying that I changed anything.
No, you're a leader in the back line.
We went through a tough time after 2006, which has been much publicised, culminated in the wooden spoon in 2010, and a complete club cultural rebuild after that. Well, that was part of it, to be honest. Which I felt like I was part of. Yeah, I was kind of a senior player for a lot of that and had a certain amount of influence at the club. So to come out in 2015, the only kind of remaining player of that bygone era, would have felt great. Would have felt great to feel like that I was a custodian of the club and brought them into a new era of success. We didn't get it. And probably, I don't know how you feel about it. By your last comments, you probably don't feel the same way about me, but probably the only game I've ever really wanted to watch back and analyse how they did that to us.
2015?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't able to do it within, I reckon it was a good 12 months before I was able to do it properly. But once I did, I felt better about it.
I haven't done it. I really want. I still.
It's a lot worse in your mind than it actually is.
Yeah.
There were some big moments in the game of 2015 that really turned the game.
Oh, that's probably my only thing.
Yeah.
That I'll take. I missed a goal.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I missed a goal in a period
I think
where
I remember
we were
that.
coming. Me, Pritter, 3 senior players in a row kicked points. We should have kicked goals.
So you still haven't watched it back?
No, but I'd really like to. Obviously Sam Mitchell, who came to the club late in the career, and he was over in Melbourne. We kept trying to tee up a time because he'll get the behind the goals vision and analyse what the frick went on, because I don't know. Like, I was out there, and Simo said to me after the game, he went through all the senior players and basically told them how they fucked up and just said, "Look, mate, you didn't prepare the boys as good as you should have," which I'll take that completely on the chin, and he's correct. I remember being out there whenever it was that the game was over, late in the third or early in the fourth. You're thinking, I don't know how to change this game. Like, normally, and I don't know if Scully will test this or not, but normally I'll try to think through the game when I'm out there and try to deliver messages to the boys around me and try and analyse how we can start changing things and wrestling it back our way. I remember sitting there going, I don't know how to stop this, hey? I don't know what they're like. I can't influence this game right now. And I remember feeling so lonely in the middle of MCG, just going, I'm actually on a bit of a loss, and it's kind of a hit to the ego in those kind of situations.
So 2015, disappointing end to the year. Couple of years go by. You finish up at the end of 2017. Injury, old, whatever. Exactly the same as Scully, pretty much.
Yep. Happens to the best of us.
The whatevers. 2018, the club goes and wins a grand final. Wins the premiership that we were chasing in 15. You're chasing your whole rest of your career. How was that watching that? Did you feel that you played a part in it? Did you feel jealousy,
Shafted.
pride? Yeah. What did you feel when you watched that win?
I felt like a massive contributor because, the best thing I ever did for that club was retire. Just open the floodgates for success, didn't it? Just Butsy out, premierships in. That's basically how it worked.
Who else did that? Didn't Pritter do that 2017?
Yeah, there's a few boys left. I think there was, because Mitch and Drewy, Hilly,
Yeah.
Shara. There's like 6 or 7 guys that were over 30 that they cut the deadwood, basically. Did I feel like I contributed? Not really. Did I enjoy the game? I couldn't have been prouder. And because some of my best mates in the world just got a premiership, it was amazing. I think people have asked me this question, whether it was a melancholy feeling. It wasn't at all. And I think I was prepared for it to be during the game, but I couldn't have been more excited to watch it and see these guys win, and couldn't have been cheering for them harder. I think it might have been different if I thought I could have been playing in it. In 2017, I was done. My body was done. Probably mentally, I was done. Probably those last 2 or 3 years, I was kind of not holding, kind of holding on, but kind of get through because we were having success. I knew it was over. It was over for me completely. If I didn't think that and I got shafted a bit more or whatever, and there might have been guys, and I just mentioned that thought that way, it might have been a different feeling that I thought I could have been out there contributing. But I was very happy to be a supporter in that situation. It was so cool to be out.
Your whole career, if you had to summarise it, look at your whole career, did you leave content, or did you feel like, I know you're going to say, you wish you played more games, but did you feel like you did enough? I don't know. What did you feel like your whole career when you look back on it?
I feel super content that I tried my hardest throughout. Does that mean I got the best out of myself? Not necessarily. If people say have no regrets, if I would have done things differently. There's times that if I had researched into my body or how injuries defined a certain part of my career, I wish I did things differently to try and appease that. So, do I feel like I could have done more in my career? Yeah, I could have. I think I could have played more games if I had my time again. Do I feel content? For sure. I don't think that was ever through a lack of trying or a lack of effort. I feel like I played the game in the right way. I feel like I did it for the right reasons. I don't think I was a selfish player. I think I did it for my teammates, and they were always my inspiration. I think I represented the club in the right way. So, all in all, I'm super proud of being able to play AFL football for 14 years because it's a bloody tough industry. But that doesn't mean I don't think I wish that certain things went slightly different and whether I could have been a different player in certain situations.
Pretty good. Sam Butler, everybody. Well, I enjoyed that. I hope everyone else did. Sam Butler, the guest. I really liked it, actually.
Got deep, didn't it?
No, that's good. It's good.
I don't think...
This is where BackChat's coming, mate. It's a bit more in depth than the old sit around and feet up on the desk.
Don't scratch beneath the surface. I don't think about my career that much.
I hate that saying
really?
so much. Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to say at least 3 times more before the end of this podcast. I don't think about my career that much. So then when you get me going, then I then I really get into the
it's because
retrospectives.
It's not a facade you've got up, but you're a charismatic guy and you talk and you're funny, and so your first, in my opinion, your first point of call is to take the piss out of yourself, and that's the best type of humour, really. But if you actually get asked some questions about your career, you've had a fucking good career, mate. So well done. Let's get up the depth chart and just have a bit more of a chat about. You send it, we read it.
Quickly becoming the world's #1 podcast segment.
Yeah, well, it'd have to overtake social media, so we're not going to get there. This one's from Alex Ridley. Thank you, Alex.
Okay. Hey, Will and Dan.
Riddle me this.
And Butsy.
Not to toot my own horn. Oh God.
So one thing that Thumper and Dan have in common, they can't read.
Right.
You know how Thumper used to stuff up all the time?
We need to get one of those massive screens in front of you. This is
teleprompter. Yeah. No, I read all day. I can't then come here and read.
Excuse.
You can't read on the most important part of the day? No.
Okay.
All right.
Let's start again. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I was a perennial East Perth reserves player during the time of the alignment. One day for a captain's run, the day before a game, I actually said hi to Will while he was plying his trade for the Royals, and he looked straight through me. Probably too early in the morning for him or something. First question.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you know?
Hasn't started well.
Do you know that the Eagles were? Did you know that the Eagles were into Ryan when he used you as a step ladder? And did he ever remind you of it? Picture attached. He did send us a picture.
Oh no, I've seen it. Yeah. It's a picture I've seen many times, and funnily enough, I know all about it.
Did he remind you of it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of great partnership Lan Ryan and I have. Is I am his step ladder.
Yeah.
Like his scaffold.
I made you who you are.
Yeah,
If
correct.
I wasn't such a good little block to jump on, you may not be here right now.
Just like you won me a premiership, Butsy. You don't get delisted down in 2017. You're probably still playing in the backline. I don't get a game.
You're welcome.
So did you know the Eagles were into Ryan at the time? Was that a done deal? That he was going to the club?
No, it wasn't a done deal. I knew that they were interested. I remember. He'd been in amazing form that year, and I remember the team meeting before the game, and they still hadn't figured out who. Oh, sorry, it was the captain's run. It could have even been the captain's run that he was talking about. And it was a pretty much who wants to play on Liam Ryan. Like it wasn't like Butsy, you've got him. And Tom Cole put his hand up like I'll play on him. And if you look at that photo, he's as high as flying right. Like not as high, but he's right there.
Oh right.
He's hanging over the top. He's going over backwards. He got a ride off me too, Coley.
Do you know who else used to do that? Godra. Anyway,
look, you have connections in Adelaide. We believe he's still living there.
He is, yep. No, okay, I've spoken to a guy who speaks to him every day, and he keeps saying, yeah.
Speaks to him every day. This guy, that sounds like this guy's lying. Hey, let me get to my contacts. I'll scratch beneath the surface, and we'll see what I can get.
Second question.
All right, second question. Mark Nikoski spent a lot of time with us at training, teaching us the systems/terminology, and he was quite adamant in saying that the term podium, which was top of the goal square, was dubbed by Callum Sinclair because when you took a mark there, you wanted to do a dance like you're on the podium at a nightclub. Is this true? And if so, did you ever get up on the podium at Hippie Club with sinkers?
Love that we've got a Hippie Club reference. I don't even have to do it. It's because it's a popular place, mate. Tuesday night down at Hippie Club.
I still got your statue out the front of there.
You would have been there when we named Podium.
Yep.
Is that true? I think it is.
Callum Sinclair.
Is it Callum Sinclair coining it though? It wouldn't surprise me.
I thought it was a Hutchie thing.
That is to do with the Podium though. Is Podium at a nightclub. Where do you want to be? It's saying like where do you want to be at the end of the night or something like that. It was a bit of a weird one. It was a bit of a weird one. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, but it is true. Yep. And I've been on the Podium. Yeah, of course I have.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do when you go to nightclubs, Dan? What do you do?
Just lurk in the shadows.
Yeah, correct.
I sit there and people come to me.
You're a real lurker.
Start scratching surfaces.
All right.
From Amiable Anderson. I feel like it might not be their first name, but
it's apparently what comes up on there as their email. I was watching an exciting and exhilarating episode of Eagle Eye TV a few years back on a Sunday afternoon. Nothing better to do than watching those shows.
That's her first lie, Amy Anderson. There's nothing exciting or exhilarating about that show.
There was a segment where Basil Zemplis was running a media training workshop with some of the players. Were you trained by Zemplis yourself? Question to both of you.
Should we just finish the email because it's the same? It's the same.
And so what are the tips that they give you that the general public may not know about? So when you're being trained in the media, and also and there's also this question. Also, do you hate it when players or coaches pluralize names like it's the Schofields and the Consts who are the backbone of our team? Like, guys, there's only one of them.
That's good. I've never thought about that before.
The Butlers of the team.
Yeah,
you got the Butlers and the Schofields and the Consts. Yours doesn't really work.
No, it's awkward to say.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So Eagle Eye TV, Basil Zemplis teaching you guys media how to answer questions.
So that happens, right? Did you get that in your first year?
I certainly did. It wasn't with Basil though.
Who was it with? Barra? No.
Oh, is it going to be bad? I'm forgetting his name. Jeff. He used to be the weatherman.
Oh,
who's
who is?
Is he on 7 at the moment? Jeff.
Been around forever.
Anyways,
yeah,
it'll come to us. Okay,
so so he was around. He gave me a bit of media training.
Jeff helped you out.
Jeff,
there's nothing too interesting about the training session you do. You literally get a tour around Channel 7. Basil reads the news. You get to read off a teleprompter, and that's what the media training was when I was there. So that probably leads me to a relatively decent discussion point: is At no point in time are you given media training as a player. Players are not given media training now. Never have were through my career. Never were through Butsy's career. They are told what they should and shouldn't say. So if you come to a press conference, you're given a list of things not to talk about. You're given, if someone's injured, tell them this.
Here's the party line. If anyone
Here's the
asks
party
you.
line. I think
that's what people allude to as media.
Is
training.
that media training?
Yeah, there's a media training answer. Really, that's just what they told you going in on the walk into that interview. They say probably don't mention this. Probably mention this if you can.
Media training should be, in my opinion, be yourself. Be mindful of your club sponsors and your club and the players around you and people that are connected parties. You need to have some intelligence about you, but be yourself. Don't try and protect all partiers at all times and don't say anything wrong. That's pretty much what it is right now. Don't stuff up. Don't say anything wrong.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't. If you're just yourself and you relax. Although I speak about it a bit on the podcast, people aren't out to get you. Like they are a bit. Yeah, they are actually. The media are out to get you, but they're not. The people people in the media are good people. Their bosses and the people they work for sometimes aren't.
But also, when you're getting a player on a radio station or whatever, like you're going, how are the boys feeling?
There's not enough space.
Unless you've been in trouble, then you have a media person sit down with you. Here's the things you don't say when they interview about it. Like I'm going to assume that, if Willie sits down for an exclusive, they will sit down with him and say, here is what you can and cannot say.
Yeah.
Like that would be media training. But generally, it's like, how are you feeling about the game this week? Like they're not, let's say
generic questions,
or
generic answers. Yeah.
Look, that's enough for you send it, we read it. We've got a new segment we floated with you a little earlier, Butsy. It's called You Call It, We Speak It. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but that's the name of the segment, Butsy.
Yeah, I've been dreading this the whole hour.
So we had a couple of people dreading. We had a couple of people give us their number. One person just texted me recently and said, sorry, mate, got to get up at 2:30 in the morning. I'm still tempted to call him, but I don't want to,
Hold on. So the concept is people just send in their number.
Yep.
It's just
and you call that number. And you don't know what's on the other end.
Yeah, that's right.
What they're going to say.
Literally, right. So I've pasted in. I'm just going to call them now. This is
fraught with danger.
You're excited,
I love it.
Yeah.
Who is the person that we're calling? What's
Daniel.
his name? Daniel. All right. Let's call him. Oh, I forgot to put my number on private. All right.
Oh, here we go. Live.
Straight on.
Live radio.
Hello.
Daniel, BackChat 2.0 here, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks, William. How are you?
Yeah, good. Very,
Daniel, are
very
you
good.
asleep right now?
12:15 on the East Coast. I'm not far off it, Samuel.
He's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So you're here with Dan, and to be honest, Butsy, he's just picked up your voice out of nowhere.
What a man.
Dan, how are you, mate? You're the first caller on You Call It, We Speak It. It must be a proud day in the life of Daniel. I won't say your last name.
I could probably die a happy man.
So Daniel, last week we were talking about the morph suits at Wildcats games, and that I had donned the Wilbur the Wildcat costume at some point to take a media photo. You told us the West Coast Eagles player that you believe was a morph man.
That's correct. Am I right? Is that why you're ringing?
Well, no, there's no prize either, Daniel. I'll tell you that right now.
It's not a radio station.
The only reason I text you guys. Come on, Will. I want something.
No, look, I can't give you anything other than an answer, and it is not Josh Rotham. Josh Rotham is not the Wildcats morph suit man. You're in the right area, though. I will say that. If we're going to run this as a competition, which we aren't,
be the third caller.
Do you know who is the morph man?
I do, yeah. I was. A current West Coast Eagles player was a morph suit boy at Perth Wildcats for 2 years.
Oh,
and he's in
MG.
Right areas for Josh Rotham. Who do you think, Butsy?
Right areas in terms of height or in terms of position or in terms of demeanour?
Just right areas.
Oh. Well, it has to be a Western Australian.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, that's good logic.
And it would have to be one of the new players I don't know the name of.
That's incorrect.
Oh.
It is someone you know. Yep.
There you
And
go.
that's your only and final guess. Now, Daniel, you're on the podcast. As you know, we've got a lot to get through, but I wanted to offer you the forum, mate. You want to speak about something? You give it to us. This is your one and only chance. Well, you can ring us next week.
We also talked to us. You also said to us about an email that you sent us in the past.
Yeah, that's it, mate. So if you want to go back and check your emails, well, I actually got excited because it came from Will Schofield's name, but then you started replying. So got a bit excited, then, was a little bit downcast when I realised I wasn't talking to the great man. But in fairness, did offer a sponsorship up, had a bit of banter back and forth, and then just got donuts. So wouldn't mind picking that up off air. But I've got a question for you boys.
Okay.
Let's wouldn't mind sort of having a crack?
Go for it, mate.
Who is the most unique sportsman athlete? And the reason I say athlete, obviously, Sam, you're a great soccer player back in your day, AFL superstar. Will, we know 2018 grand final, you absolutely dominated the goalie and used to run a little bit around the track when you were younger. And Dan, well, what haven't you done in sport? 5 to 16.
So this is now a weekly segment, everyone, just so everyone knows. This is now every week. Dan is ringing in.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dan.
On that, yeah. So, what's the most unique athlete? It could be a multifaceted answer. Unique off the field, unique on the field. So, I suppose over to you guys. Who is it?
I'm glad we got Butsy in here because this is actually your form because you're one of them. I'm not going to say it to you.
It depends how we go. So I've analysed the playing list that I've played with in terms of physical attributes.
You've run
the most physically gifted players that I ever played with. If you're talking about talents in other sports, then there's some low hanging fruit. Shannon Hearn was potentially going to be Australia's greatest ever cricketer. He was a gun. Yes. Junior in South Australia. Got a Redbacks contract.
Been there.
Yep. But in terms of physical specimens, so if I could trade bodies with anyone that I've played with, number one, Brent Staker.
Yes.
Quick.
Sorry to butt in, boys.
Yes.
Another question. Brent Staker was probably the last West Coast Eagles long sleeve player to actually play a game in the AFL.
I was going to say, did you listen I'm sure you listened last week, Dan. I know you did because you've written in. Swampy said it was Gaffy.
I don't have much of a life, but yeah, so I did listen. But yeah, in an AFL game, I reckon it might have been Brent Staker.
Yeah, so Swamp said Gaffy was the last person in not state of origin. What's that?
Long
Gaelic?
sleeve.
International rules.
International rules. Thank you, Charlie.
Long sleeve player.
Staker, yeah.
Conversation, Charlie.
That's not for a West Coast. That's not West Coast, is it?
This guy's great.
Dan, if when the borders open up, you're very welcome to come and sit in the studio with us because you have been nothing but value. Yeah. Now we'll let Butsy continue the answer. So
no, I won't waste everyone's time with it. Brent Staker would probably be number one for everything you want in football.
Adonis.
Tall, strong, quick, good endurance, fantastic. Second, Mitch Brown.
Yeah, people forget about Mitch Brown.
Had the greatest repeat speed testing in West Coast history, but would do endurance in the top group of running as well. And he's a key back, strong, big boy.
Repeat mind games, not up near the top.
Yeah, there might be other things in the way from these guys succeeding in sport.
Number 3?
Well, I don't want to put in the obvious, the knick-knacks. The obvious. They're not all-rounders. I'm looking for
like a unique specimen.
All-rounders. And I just said I don't want to go to obvious people, but if you're talking all-rounders, Chris Judd is the best. Single best athlete that's ever come through West Coast. Not just because he was quick as shit, but would consistently be in the top 2 or 3 for the beep test, consistently be in the top 2 or 3 for jump, vertical leap, squat testing, chin-ups. He was horrible at bench press because he had back shoulders. Skinfolds low.
Yeah,
good.
Very good athlete.
I'll finish it off with this, Dan. Unique sport, talent, Tom Barras, chess. Very good.
On the chessboard.
Quite unique off the field too, in the way he thinks about things, I believe.
Yeah, he is. So we'll get TB in here at some stage. But
I also like to analyse those that are the least talented outside of football. Let me give you the top 2. People that can't do any other sport but football. 1, Bo Waters. Literally can't do any other sport but football.
He'd run through a brick wall if you asked him.
Yeah. If brick wall was a sport, he'd be the leader. He'd be the leader of it.
Triathlons? No.
Yeah, I mean like skill sports. Like you give him a bat or a ball. Any other ball other than a football? Matt Prittis. No, you do not. He's swinging at balls with cricket bat and missing them by a metre. Top 2.
There you go.
Matt Prittis, Bo Waters. Worst. All right, Dan.
Sorry, you two.
Hope that answers your question, mate.
All right.
No, well done, guys. Yeah, that was great listening. It's awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan. See you, mate.
Very, very, very good stuff by Daniel. I wish I could. I don't know why I don't want to say his last name, but yeah,
No, that's all right.
big Danny boy.
That was fantastic.
We love it. Now
I like the new segment.
We're gonna, yeah, so do I. So if you want to get on,
That's
you
a bit
call
of a
it.
taste.
You call it. We speak it. Jump on. Send us your number. We'll give preference to patrons. That's another thing that's happened, Butsy. We got people supporting the podcast. We got people paying money to support this podcast, and we absolutely love it. I do have something to just. I don't like using the word tease, but it's introduce to our listeners. And this is going to be patrons only. Now, I spoke about it a couple of weeks. We're going to cut the exclusive content to patrons, and we do appreciate you still being patrons of the podcast and supporting the podcast without the exclusive content. Well, I also said there's going to be exclusive content without notice. Well, here's your notice. Next week, as of next week, we will be on Twitter Live. We will be... I think it's Live Spaces, Charlie. I know you won't know, but I'm asking you anyway.
Oh, MySpace.
No. I will not have Justin Timberlake playing in the back. What was your MySpace song? Remember?
I didn't have a MySpace.
Okay, perfect.
Nicky FM by that hardcore band.
We will be on Twitter Live Spaces when we record the podcast, and you can watch us live record the podcast. That's exclusive content. If I've ever heard of exclusive content.
Can I just confirm?
You like
something?
that?
That's as good as it gets.
Do you actually like that?
Yeah.
I think with Twitter Spaces though, I don't think it's video, is it? I think it's just audio.
Oh, now it's shit.
It's not shit at all. You can live question us.
Yeah. No, it's very
Oh,
good.
no, it's good. Sorry.
It may not be video, but it's
still very good.
it's
still
good and
valuable.
live. I'm going to have a phone right in front of us.
Yep.
And you want to contribute while we're recording? Go for it. Have a
Love it.
listen.
Love
But only for patrons. There's my little teaser.
Feel like you're really here.
All right, final part. Social media.
Butsy, hang on, before we keep going any further.
Oh no, you can't cut me off social like that.
Please cut him anytime you want.
When I get home and jump on the computer,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to patreon.com and I just hope that there's one that says S. Butler is a new patron.
You will see that name.
Okay, good.
Do you know how to do that?
No.
Go to backchatpodcast.com.au.
I'll get you guys to do it on my phone from here.
S Butler, great.
While we're here. After
And you
the
can
thing.
contribute.
Obviously.
You'd love.
Do I get paid? Do I pay myself?
Yes.
Guests don't get paid, obviously. Yeah, cool.
Not yet, but they will.
Oh, cool.
All right, here we go. Matt Cutback _ We love it _ We still love it _ Butsy.
Is Butsy still off the beef? Or how long after watching Cowspiracy did he last?
Dan doesn't know what this means.
Cut back.
I mean, I understand. I'm not a dumb. Like, I understand.
Cut back.
the
What a
question.
man. Chucked an underscore at the end, too.
Butsy, let me just start with, I'll just quickly answer this. I went to a barbecue with Butsy last week, and I asked an identical question after I offered Butsy a sausage, and he said, is that pork or beef? I said, it's beef. It's a sausage. He goes, no, I won't eat that. So to answer your question, Matt, he's still on Cowspiracy. He's off the beef.
I'm a man of my word. Matt Cutback.
I feel like it's gone past that now. You've proved your point. You've proved your point.
No,
Better, mate. Eat a sausage.
Is the planet saved?
I
Are we
don't,
now on a great path?
You'll die
Is
before
the
it's saved.
job done?
you're not going to do anything
No.
about that, mate.
Will.
Okay.
It's not.
So you're still Cowspiracy.
Cowspiracy, baby.
Supertramp _ Bryce. This is our lad that travelled all around Australia. He's a good man, Supertramp.
G'day, blokes. I've been revisiting the archives on my long runs lately and listening to Will's conversation with Shuey about his night out in the Spider-Man costume. It's made me want to hear some more of your best Unity trip stories.
Ooh, that's a question without notice, Butsy. You get one story, if you have any. I'm sure you do.
Me?
Yeah, mate. These are to you. This is off the back of our BackChat's back, which I will say, I went and made a very, very, very good video of you singing BackChat, and your face was superimposed on actual Backstreet Boys faces. And you've seen it?
That's the dream.
Well,
It felt so good.
And it won't let me post it on social media. So you know where I'm going to post it?
Twitter Live.
No.
It's MySpace.
No. Come on. Not TikTok.
Oh, Patreon.
There you go. There's some exclusive content for the
very
patrons,
good.
baby. You got any uni trip? I just paused enough for you or not? You don't have to.
I hate when people say this,
Yeah,
but it's not for public. I can't think of one for public consumption.
that's fine.
Not that we were doing really debaucherous stuff. That makes it feel bad, but you don't want to.
That's fine.
You know what I'm saying.
Saxon _ Sinus.
I don't. Sounds like it's debaucherous. Butsy, what are your thoughts on Dan's 5 for 16 in an under-12s grand final, and do you have anything to substitute? Well, we've already discussed that. But what do you think of
So
the
this
5
comes
for
up a
16?
lot?
Oh, mate.
Every show he mentions this.
Really?
Sometimes it
his
organically...
trophy's on the table. Mine's footy. His is the cricket trophy.
What's his second best figures?
on cricket, I don't know, probably 5 for 15.
What? They're better than
Better. The second best one's wow, unbelievable.
Better.
This story has got holes in it. I'm telling you. I'm telling
Mate,
you.
hang on, let me just
My
check the
second
trophies.
best are better than the first.
5
You
for
blew
16
it.
runs.
You
I got a
blew
10
it.
for once. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, didn't I? Oh.
No, there was
Sorry,
a game when I played men's D grade Monday night basketball, and I came out and I think I
It's
hit
already impressive. You can stop there and I'll be impressed.
hit my first 4 shots, I think, without missing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
layups.
Does it shock you to believe that Dan plays mixed netball on Wednesday?
Actually, I forgot to put this in the notes. I got to tell you guys.
It doesn't shock me to the point where I want to join your team.
Okay, no, I need to tell you guys something.
Oh,
I've retired. I recently retired, and I put a video up, and I had to.
Patrons.
I'll put that up on Patron. It's my announcement to the team that I've retired. So I played 2 games. In my second game, Maxine, who was like a 70-year-old referee, said she was reporting me for my rudeness.
That's not your last.
rudeness.
That's the last game I've ever played. Yeah, she said I was being rude.
What
So,
position were you?
GD.
Bench.
Oh, good
I
spot.
was not going to let anyone beat me in that contest. Okay.
Can you imagine lining up on against Dan at GD? Just go sit
Yeah,
down
but
there,
it's
child.
9:15 on a Tuesday night, and they just want to have fun.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
like,
rough.
okay.
Yeah.
Starting now. That's starting now. There you go. There's an idea of how late we record this. Stefan _ 1039.
When was the last time you logged into your infamous Insta account, Butsy?
Oh, great question, Stefan.
Have you fired that up a little bit? Yeah, you get a bit
Yeah.
more active.
Yeah, I'm really active on it at the moment.
Are you actually or not?
Nah, I haven't done anything.
No, I actually went to our messages and saw that we mentioned you in a post, which then goes to your messages, and you hadn't seen it, and it had been 4 days. So
Oh, right, yeah, no.
4 days.
We're talking months.
Yeah,
okay.
Just your average fantasy.
Okay.
Don't mind that at all.
This is actually a pretty deep question.
This is the last one.
How has fatherhood changed your life, Butsy?
Wow, that is a deep question.
Whack.
Like it's like AD and BC. It's like before, like life was completely different before the birth of this child. I don't know. It just changes your life, doesn't it, Scott?
Yeah.
Like your priorities change.
Dan's got 2 kids. Dan's got 2 kids.
Yeah, Dan, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Your perspective on who you are changes, and your perspective on what you actually want out of life completely changes. So it's been the best thing I've ever done.
Charlie, taking notes over there, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm getting ready.
How was your?
Going on the way?
Or it's over.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I knew you had a date, so I was just checking in.
What's over?
What's over?
Oh, a few weeks ago, I missed a podcast episode because I was on a date.
Yeah.
To be fair enough, you texted me about 15 minutes before you recorded.
Yeah.
It's already on the date.
Yeah.
That's now over.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So no baby.
No baby.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Sorry to bring that up, Charlie.
It's all right.
Hey, work in progress.
Yeah, that's right. You got time.
Yeah, it's not much chop, Charlie. Don't worry about it, mate. You put it off for a while.
While we are talking about this though, Charlie, I did want to. There was one more that didn't quite make it in. It said, "Oh no, you know what? Sorry, I forgot. Don't even worry about that, Charlie."
All right. No worries.
Social media really still cranking out good content, isn't it? Wow. Do you know what the best thing about it is now? You don't actually read the questions.
That's correct, Butsy. So these two don't know.
You're
what that means.
delegating social media.
And I've delegated to someone that
Can't read.
reads it worse than I do. Because the whole thing was.
Well, how can you ask yourself the questions?
I couldn't know, but I couldn't read them. When I used to read them, I
Couldn't read the names, couldn't read the words.
All right.
Yeah,
Overall,
balls
we're at the end, Butsy. We've made it. How do you rate your overall BackChat 2.0 experience? Because it's a new era, mate. What's the
I would rate
experience?
it really disappointing, only because I was hoping it was going to be shit. But it's actually been really good.
Very good.
So if you take it the other way, I'm very impressed, and I'll probably start begging you to come back on the other side of the table soon.
You know what I would like to do?
No.
Could we? Yeah,
Please tell us.
Because I thought about it just before. Could we, sometime in the near future, watch the 2015 grand final with you, and get you, sort of stream it, not live necessarily? Could we do that?
Wow. It could get too
I
emotional.
may lose friends when I start bagging my team. When I start bagging my teammates for certain things that might happen, and myself. I'll bag myself. But
Yeah, you're a shocking
potential.
Fan. You're a
Hey?
shocking fan, like a watcher. You do that.
Am I?
I think you are. I think I'm right.
I like to internalize those things, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, normally, but
Why are you doing that? Stop doing that.
I do think those things a lot. But for the sake of if we did watch that
For content?
for the content, I'll probably have to verbalize my innermost thoughts.
Yeah, good. All right.
To wrap this up, you can find us on social, Instagram, backchat_podcast, backchat_pod, Reddit, /backchat podcast, TikTok, Charlie, well done, backchat_podcast. Wow. It's
Who would have thought?
Who would have believed it?
the consistency. Hello. Email us at hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. You can find us on our website, backchatpodcast.com.au. And this will be our first episode on YouTube, I believe. I'm not putting us under pressure, but I'm putting us under pressure. Butsy, your debutante.
Feels good. New mediums everywhere. This has taken off. This felt good, guys, and I really appreciate you getting me on.
Don't end it on a soppy note like that.
Can we hug?
You guys suck.